Hello, I'm Krishnaveni, Assistant Professor of Bharat Institute of Law and Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today we are going to see the subject as a company law, and the topic was meaning and the characteristics of company. What is the company? What is different from other business aspects and the form of business, the meaning and the characteristics of company. What are the other characteristics in the company? We'll see one by one, which each characteristic of the company will define what is company. We'll see one by one. First of all, we'll see the meaning and the definition of the company. The word company is derived from the Latin word come means with or together. Panis means bread, and it is originally referred to an association of persons who took their meals together. So the word company is derived from the Latin word. That's why the meaning is given exactly what is company. Therefore, a company, form of an organization, has assumed a greater importance. In popular parlance, a company denotes an association of like-minded persons formed for the purpose of carrying on some business or undertaking. A company is a corporate body and a legal person having the status and personality distinct and separate from the members constituting it. It means a company is a corporate body. Why? Because it has a legal personality. Even though a company is an artificial person, but it can be treated as a living personality. It has given a status as a legal person. It means it has a distinct separate from the members is constituting it. It means you can separate the company from its members. The members' liabilities differ from the company's liabilities. That's we are going to see elaborately how it is the liabilities differ and how the members are differ from its company. We'll see one by one. Body corporate. First, the characteristic will be in a body corporate. It is called a body corporate because the persons composing it are made into one body by incorporating it according to the law and clothing it with legal personality. So now the company, after the incorporation, a company become a legal personality and incorporating according to the law and clothing with the legal personality. That's why it is called body corporate. And the word corporation is derived from the word Latin term corpus, which means body. The corpus means it's called body. It's a Latin term, the corpus. Accordingly, the corporation is a legal person created by a process other than natural birth. For a normal individual person, it has a legal birth, not natural birth. But in a company, it has a legal birth. So it is a process other than a natural birth. If it is for this reason, sometimes called artificial legal person. That's why a company is called as artificial legal person. As a legal person, the corporate is capable of enjoying many rights and acquiring many liabilities of natural person. So a legal person at the same time it has acquired many liabilities as like a natural person. That's why we are comparing with the personality. That's why a company is turned to be a legal personality and it is called as a body corporate because it has a body, it has a corpus, but it is not given any natural birth. It is called as legal birth. A legal personality, it has in the clothing of legal personality, it is survived. So company will be treated as a separate legal entity. So once if the company is incorporated, a company is becoming a legal personality, we will see one by one, what are the other characteristics of a company if becoming a legal personality? How it is acquired after the incorporation? What is the better advantages becoming a legal personality and becoming a body corporate? What will be the advantages? That's why we are going to see the meaning and the characteristics of the company under this topic. Next, we'll see meaning of the company under the Companies Act. What is the meaning of the company under Companies Act 2013? A Companies Act 2013, a company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. Section 2, clause 20. In common law, a company is a legal person or a legal entity, a separate form and capable of surveying beyond the lives of its members. So a company can live or survey beyond the life of its members. It means it has some perpetual succession. It is called. We are going to see in the perpetual succession also. So a company is rather a legal device for attainment of a social, economical, and end. It is therefore a combined political, social, economical, and legal institutions. So the company as a legal personality, once again, it has defined in the 2013 Act also, company means incorporated under this act. That is all. The meaning was given, but we are derived. What are the characteristics of the companies also derived here? And Lord Justice Lindley has defined a company. The juristic person is again defined in the companies. How? Is an association of many persons who contribute money or money's worth to common stock and employ it in some trade or business, and who share the profit and loss arising therefrom. The common stock so contributed, it's denoted in money and it's in a capital for a company. So the person who contributed in it form it or whom it belongs or the members, the proportion of the capital to which each member is entitled to his share. Their shares are always transferable, although the right to transfer them may be restricted. So the Lord Justice Lindley has defined the company, an association of many persons. Yes, a company is not at all in a single person. Now in 2013 Act, we have a one-person company also. In generally, the most of the companies has some association of person who contributes some money, and from that money, it is in a common stock and employed, it's in some trade and business. So this money is utilized for doing in a particular business or for the purpose of doing the business. That money has to be invested by the collective peoples or the association of people. That's why we already seen the company means what, and the persons come for to share the profit or the company. So the business and who shares the profit or loss arising therefrom. So even not only sharing the profit, if it is the loss is occurred, that is also shared between these members of their company. So the common stocks so contributed is denoted the company and its a capital of the company, the person who contributed it from it and whom belongs it or the members, the proportion of the capital to which each member is entitled to his shares. Yes, that is the meaning of the company as to be given under the Companies Act 2013. Next, we'll see body corporate, meaning of the company. Now we'll see the distinction between the partnership firm and the company. Other form of business is in a partnership firm. How it is differ from the company? We'll see. A partnership firm is not distinct from the several person who from the partnership. So that is the difference. We'll see with the company. A company is a distinct legal person and it has a legal entity. And the creditors of the partnership firm are the creditors of the individual partners, and degree against the firm can be executed against the partners jointly and severally. That is the partnership forms. And in a company, the creditors of the company can proceed only against the company and not against its members. Okay, that is the difference between the partnership firm and the company. In a partnership firm, the more liability towards the members of the company. Here, the liability is towards the company, not with the members of the company. We will see what is limited liability and the liability, limited liability, partnership, and everything will be there, LLP. Now, we are only comparing with the partnership firm and with the company. Next points, what are the comparison we'll see? The partnership are the agent of the firm. Partner can dispose of the property and incur the liabilities as long as he acts in a course of the firm business. But in a company, the members of the company are not its agents. A member of a company cannot dispose of the property and incur the liabilities in the course of company's business. So it is how the agent, how they work with the members of the partnership. But here the members of the company, how they work. That is the difference between the partnership and the company. And a partner cannot contract with this firm. A company share can ordinarily be transferred and the members are contracted with this company. And a partner cannot transfer his shares and makes a transferee a member of the firm without the consent of the other partner. So the partner cannot transfer his shares, but the company shares can ordinarily be transferred. That is the difference. A company can easily transfer the shares, but here you can ask the permission of the partner. If you want to make any transfer, you can get the consent of the other partner also. The liabilities of the shareholders may be limited by the shares or by limited by its guarantee. That will be another company, the liability of the shareholders. Here, a company shares can ordinarily be transferred and the liabilities of the company or the partnership has to be, everyone has the liability in the partnership form. So that is the difference between the company and the partnership form. Let's see. The death of the insolvency of the partners is dissolved the firm unless otherwise provided. A company has perpetual succession. The death of the insolvency of the shareholder or all of them does not affect the life of the company. So the death, the perpetual succession, the company never dies. If at all those members, if they died, also the company will serve it. But it's not like in the partnership form. If suppose in the insolvency partner dissolve the firm unless otherwise is provided. So a partnership firm, on the other hand, it is a result of an agreement and can be dissolved at any time by agreement among the partners. But in a partnership firm, on the other hand, it is a result of an agreement and can be dissolved at any time by agreement among the partners. A company is required to have its accounts audited annually by the chartered accountant. How the accounts are maintained in a company means by the auditor, and accounts are to be by the chartered accountant. CA has to be maintained. But here is not in a particularly, you need not to maintain the CA and all. But in partnership firm also you have to maintain accounts, but it is not in a proper way how the company is maintained. But the company should maintain the account by way of getting the CA. You can appoint the CA and you can make the books of accounts has to be very clear. Each and every financial year you have to be maintained properly in the company, but not like in a partnership. So somehow there are some positive aspects in the partnership form and some of the positive aspects in the company also. But most of all, the company has more advantages over a partnership form because of the legal entity. We are not completed with all those characteristics of the company. When we complete all those the characteristics of the company, we can identify how benefit if the business is run over as a company compared to the partnership firm, how it is benefited to the members and how it is benefited to the company. And we'll see one by one what are the other characteristics of the company, how it is different from the partnership. Just be given a difference between the partnership firm and the company. Next we'll see, continue. The nature and the characteristics of the company. A corporate personality, a company incorporated under the act is vested with a corporate personality, so it is redundant, bears its own name, acts under the name, has a seat of its own, and its assets are separated and distinct from those of its member. It is different persons and distinct from those its member and the different persons from the members who compose it. Therefore, it is capable of owning the property, inquiring debts, borrowing money, having a bank account, employing people, entering into contract, and suing or to being sued as same manner as an individual. So the company is incorporated and it is acted vested with the corporate. So once if the company is incorporated, it means it has to be registered in a registered office of the company, then it would be acted as a corporate personality. And as a redactant bears in the own name, it can act in the own name of the company and act under the names and the seal of its own assets, and separate property has to be acquired by the company in the name of company can acquire. And the distinct from those its members, different persons from the members who compose it. So it is entirely different. The company is different from its members. That is very important point for the characteristics of the company, because it's act differently with its members and from the members, and therefore it is capable of owning the property and inquiring debts and borrowing money, having a bank account, employing people, entering into a contracts and suing or being sued in the same manner as an individual. See, such an individual person, what are all the rights and liabilities given to the individual person as a natural person, the same has given to the company. That's why a company has a corporate personality. So it is very important point. The company is a corporate personality. How we are telling it is a corporate personality? Because it acts like a personality. It has acquiring the liabilities, at the same time it has some duties also, like in a natural person. It has a right to sue and to be sued. And the time the property is in the name of company, you can purchase the property and you can dispose the property in the name of the company also. See, like in an individual person, you can also acquire a property and in the name of your individual person, you can sue and to be sued. So the same has to be given to the company name. In the name of company, you can do all those things because it achieves the corporate personality. Once if it is registered, once if it is incorporated, it acquires the corporate personality. Yes, that is incorporation is very important term in an act. It is forming a legal corporation as a jurisdictional person. So the company achieving the legal personality as a jurisdictional person in the incorporation time. So the incorporation, the process of incorporation, how the company is registered is very important. And a jurisdictional person in a law also conferred with the rights on the obligation is dealt with in accordance with the law. So according to the law only, a company is registered, it is incorporated, then it give a birth of the company and the company become a legal personality. That is very important, incorporation. Next. Very important case law for telling the company is a separate legal entity. A company is distinct from its member. It has a limited liability. The members are distinct from the company. Everything will be come under this case law. Is very landmark case, basic landmark case for a corporate personality in a company law. The important case law is the Salmon versus Salmon and Co. So in this case, what happened, we see is very interesting fact for the Salmon case. The Salmon had for some year carried a prosperous business as a leather merchant. He's a leather merchant and a boot manufacturer. He formed a limited company consisting of himself, his wife, and his daughter, and his 4 sons. So all those members, the family members, or all of the whom is subscribed 1 share, each of actual has paid as a capital was £7. As Salmon sold his business, which was perfectly solvent at the time, to the company formed by him sum of £38,782. The company nominal capital was £40,000 in 1 share. The £1 is in each share in a part payment of the purchase of money for the business sold to the company's debentures for the amount of £10,000 secured by a floating charges and allotment of £20,000 pounds for 1 fully paid shares. The remaining amount of 8,782 was paid to Salmon in cash. Salmon was the managing director and 2 of his sons were the other directors. Means the family members of the Salmon itself, the members of the company. So the company soon ran into difficulties and the debenture holders appointed a receiver and the company went into liquidation. The total assets of the company amounted to £6,050. The liabilities were £10,000 secured by the debentures, 8,000 assets and £6,050 on the ground that a company was a mere alias or the agent for a Salmon. They were entitled to payment of their debts in the priority to debentures. They further pleaded that Salmon, as the principal beneficiary, was ultimately responsible for the debts incurred by his agent or the trustee on his behalf. Also on his behalf, he is also one of the member and the family members also the members of the company. So whether they are distinct from its company, under the company's the characteristic, once if it is incorporated, it's distinct from its members. The same point, a company is distinct from its members of the company, like Salmon's family members are distinct from the company. So they are invested, they are given a secured creditors like debenture holders for a company, they must be settled first. Even though they are the members of the company, they are the secured creditors. That's why it's given as they are both are separate legal entity. It has a separate legal entity. It's distinct from its members. That is will be well established facts in the solvent versus solvent case. It's given a decision like that. We'll see in the next slide. Continuation. What is the lordship of a house of lord is observed? What has absorbed in that case? The company is different person altogether from the subscribed from the memorandum, and though it may be that after the incorporation of the business is precisely same as before, the same persons are managers and the same hands receive the profit, the company is not in law their agent or trustee. The status enacts nothing as to extent of the degree of the interest which may held by each of the servant, or as to the proportion interest or influence possessed by one or the majority of the shareholders over the others. There is nothing in the act required that the subscribers to the memorandum should be independent or unconnected, or that they or any of them should take a substantial interest in the undertakings, or that they should have mind or will their own, or that there should be anything like a balance of powers in constitution of the company. So this was held in the solvent versus solvent case. They are distinct from its members, is well established. The company has a corporate personality. It has a well established case law. It is a landmark case, is a solvent versus solvent. And recent days, the development has to be increased with the lifting of corporate. We'll see our next session with the lifting of corporate will. Now he can distinguish from his member, but even though he is also liable, how we can see in the lifting of corporate pay. That is another doctrinal civil level. Against this solvent versus solvent case, we'll see in next session. Next of the characteristic. Another case is Lee versus Lee Air Firming Limited case, 1961 case. In this case, a company was formed for the purpose of aerial top dressing, and the Lee has a qualified pilot, held all but one of the shares in the company. He voted himself the managing director and got him appointed by the articles of the chief pilot at the salary. He was killed in the air crash while working for the company. His widow or wife has claimed the compensation of death of her husband. In the course of his employment, the company opposed the claim on the ground the Lee was not a worker, as the same a person would not be the employer and the employee. The Privy Council held that the Lee and his family and his company were distinct legal person, which had entered into a contractual relationship under which he became the chief pilot and the servant of the company. In his capacity, the managing director, he could, on behalf of the company, he himself ordered in his other capacity of pilot, and the relationship between himself of a pilot and the company was that of the servant and the master. Lee was a separate person from the company he formed, and his widow was held entitled to get the compensation. It is effect magic of the corporate personality, him, the Lee, to be the master and the servant at the same time and enjoy the advantages of both. So using this corporate personality, Lee is enjoyed both a position like a servant at the same time a master. That is why the legal personality, how it is helpful for the companies doing the business. Next we'll see. Next case is the Calcutta High Court, Indri Kundali Tea Company Limited case. In this case, the Calcutta High Court, Indri Kundali Tea Company Limited case. In this case, they recognize the principle of separate legal entity even much earlier than the decision in the solvent versus solvent co-limited case. Certain persons transferred as a tea estate to a company and claimed the exemption from the ad valorem duty on the ground that is since they themselves were also the shareholders in the company. It was nothing but the transfer from them in one name and themselves under the another name. While rejecting this, Calcutta High Court observed that the company was a separate person, a separate body altogether from the shareholders. And as a transfer as which may be the convenience, a transfer of the property as the shareholders have been totally different persons. So same the legal personality concept is applied in the Kundali Tea Estate case also. And company is an artificial person. A company is an artificial person. Yes, we'll see the company, how it is an artificial person. A company is an artificial person created by the law. It is not a human being, but it's act through the human beings. It is considered as a legal person, which can be either into contracts, a process, a possess of properties, is his own name, sue and can be sued by the others, etc. It is called an artificial person since it is invisible, intangible, existing only in the contemplation of law. It is capable of enjoying the rights and being subject of the duties. That is a company's artificial person. A company is not a citizen. Yes, whether a company is, because when a legal personality, how an individual person has a citizenship over a country, like a company, it is an artificial person. Whether a company has citizenship, whether a company can acquire a citizenship, that is a question will arise. The company, though a legal person, it is not a citizen. Yes, if you're given a status as a legal personality, but it is not recognized as a person and not a citizen under the Citizenship Act. And 1955, the Constitution of India, it in State Trading Corporation India Limited versus CTOA 1963-1811 case, the Supreme Court held that the State Trading Corporation, though a legal person, was not a citizen, can act only through the natural person. Nevertheless, it is to be noted that a certain fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution for the protection of the persons, example, right to equality, Article 14, etc., also available in the company. Section 2, Clause F of the Citizens Act 1955 expressly exclude the company's association or the body of individual from the citizenship. So company is not a citizen. R.C. Cooper versus Union of India, AR 1970, Supreme Court 564, that is a report. And in this case, the Supreme Court held that while the legislative measures directly touch the companies of which the petitioner is a shareholder, he can petition on behalf of the company if by impunged action his rights are also infringed. In that case, the court entertained the petition under Article 332 of the Constitution at the instance of the director as shareholders of the company and granted relief. It is therefore to be noted that the individual right is not lost by the reason, the fact that he is a shareholder of the company. This was held in R.C. Cooper versus Union of India case. And Bennett Coleman versus Union of India, AR 1973, and the Supreme Court 106. In this case, Supreme Court stated that it is now clear that the fundamental right of the shareholders as the citizens are not lost when they associated from a company. When there is a fundamental rights or shareholders are impaired by the state action, the rights or shareholders are protected. The reason is that the shareholder rights are equally and necessarily affected. The rights of the companies are affected. That is was held in Bennett Coleman versus Union of India case. Whether the company has any nationality and residence. We previously cases we discussed about the whether company has any citizenship. Now in this we'll discuss about company has a nationality and the residence. So, though it is established through the judicial decision, a company cannot be a citizen. That's we identify. Yet it has a nationality. Domicile and the residence in Gazette versus Inland Revenue Commissioner 1940, the Manhattan, the justice held that the limited company is capable of having that domicile, and its domicile is a place of registration, and that domicile clings to the thought, the existence. He observed in this case, it was suggested that a body corporate has no domicile. It is quite true. The body corporate cannot have a domicile in the same sense of the individual. So you cannot treat as like a same individual as a company. In the name itself, we can call it as a legal personality or person or something. But in an aspect of anything new, as like in a nationality or any other matters, it has to be different things. But any analogy with a natural person is attributes of residence, domicile, and the nationality can be given to the body corporate. So the company has a nationality and the residence. And limited liability, next important characteristics, the limited liability, the privileges of the limited liability of the business. Debt is one of the principal advantages of doing business under the corporate form of organization. A company being a separate person is the owner of its assets and bound by its liabilities. The liability of the members of shareholders extends to the contribution of the capital of the company up to the nominal value. The shares held are not paid by him. The members even a whole or neither the owners of the company's undertaking nor liable for its debt. In other words, the shareholders is liable to pay the balance if any due on the shareholders held him when called upon to pay, then nothing is more, even if the liabilities of the company for exceeds its assets. This means that liability of the member is limited. For example, if A holds a shares of total nominal value 1,000 and already paid a 500 or 50% of the value as part of the payment at the time of the allotment, he cannot be called upon the payment more than 500 rupees because he is limitedly liable to up to what extent he is liable, only is liable. The amount of remaining unpaid on his shares, if hold fully paid shares, he has no further liability to pay even if the company is declared insolvent. So in the case of company limited by guarantee, the liability of members is limited to a specified amount of the guarantee mentioned in the memorandum. So in the memorandum, what is mentioned, it has to be reflected the liability of the person with the company. So limited liability has to be a very important point for a characteristic of the company. Next, we'll see perpetual succession. So in incorporated company never dies except in a incorporated in the perpetual succession, it is wound up as per the law. A company is being a separate legal person is unaffected by the death or the departure of any member and is remained the same under despite of total changes in the membership. So the perpetual succession means that the membership of the company may keep changing from time to time, but that shall not affect in the continuity. So the professor LCB Goer rightly mentioned the members may come and go, but the company can go on forever. So during the war, all the members of the private company, while in general meeting, were all in a bomb, but the company will survive. Not even the hydrogen bomb could destroy it. The company never dies. It is a perpetual succession. These are the other characteristics of the company. And a company has a separate property. So a company being a legal person and entirely distinct from its members is capable of owning, enjoying and disposing of the property its own name. A company is a real person in which all this property is vested, by which it is controlled, managed and disposed of. There are Lords of Madras High Court in P.R.F. Perumal versus H. John Devin. In 1960, the Madras High Court held that no member can claim himself to be the owner of the company's property during its existence, its winding up. So a member does not even have an insurable interest of the property of the company. So a company has a property in its own name. It means separate property, not with the members. The members cannot acquire the property in the name of company. Only in the name of company, the property has to be acquired. That's why it is called separate property. It is one of the characteristics of the company. And it has a capacity to sue and to be sued. A company being a body corporate can be sued and to be sued in its own name. To sue means to be institute legal proceedings against a person or to bring a suit in the court of law. All the legal proceedings against a company ought to be instituted in its name. Similarly, the company may bring an action against anyone in its own name. A company right to sue arises when some of the loss is caused to the company, to the property or the personality of the company. So a company has right to see damages where defamatory material is published about it, affect its business, and where the video cassettes were prepared to be the workman of a company showing their struggles against the company's management. So you can be sued in the name of company, or the company can also sue against any person in the name of the company. So because he's a separate legal personality and separate legal entity. Next, we'll see. Separate management. Yes, already noted, the members may derive the profit without being bound with the management of the company. They do not have effective and intimate control over it working, and they elect their representatives as the directors on the board of directors of the company to conduct the corporate functions through the managerial personnel employed by them. In other words, the company is administered and managed by its managerial personnel. So these are all the characteristics of the companies, exactly the separate management and the capacity to sue and to be sued, and has a legal personality and it has perpetual succession and right to own its property in the name of the company. So these are all the characteristics of the company. What is the advantages over making the company having these characteristics means? It's very important is a limited liability. I forgot. A limited liability is one of the main characteristics of the company. What extent you invested in a company, that extent alone you are being liable towards the company. It means if you are invested in 500 rupees in a company, if it is anything it is occurred, if it is in a company is an economically is weaker portion, the company is gone for winding up procedure at the time, what extent you are liable to pay back the money to other debtors or the creditors of the company. Only if you want you invested for this 500 rupees, that extent only you are liable, not with the entire amount. But in a partnership form, it's not like that. You are entirely, you will be the responsible towards the business. So the responsibility and in the perpetual succession and acquiring the property in the name of company and to be sold, all those things is a very good advantages over running the business in the form of company compared to the partnership firm. So in this session, we discussed about the difference between the partnership firm and the company. What are the differences given in that? So the entire session, we discussed about the company. What is the meaning of the company, the definition of the company, why we given the name as a company, it's a Latin word and everything. And we discussed about what is the advantages over the company doing the business in the name of company compared to the partnership firm. We make in a comparative study with the partnership firm and the company. And we one by one, we saw with the all those characteristics of the company like separate personality and legal personality. It has limited liability. It has separate management. So the perpetual succession and the company can be sued and to be sued. So all those list of the characteristics we discussed in this session. So it is very useful and informative session, I think so. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to watch the video of company laws, meaning and the characteristics of company. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.